Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Chapter 41. Completely Taken Out Heart, Slashing Ability. Quote. Shang Waqiang, the leader of the hunter group, looked around vigilantly and did not notice the ambush. The mood settled down a little. He didn't intend to procrastinate any longer, so he snatched up Lu Chengqing and Lin Qianchen as soon as possible. Is the safest. It's not because of what Lu Chengqing said just now. The few people in front of them are at most professionals who have just awakened. Even with the help of family resources, stacking up the silver rank, the actual combat ability. Completely negligible. Shang Waqiang carried the finger tiger in both hands, and almost without any hesitation, he decisively attacked and killed Lu Chengqing. The days of often licking blood at the tip of the knife allowed him to develop a strong fighting instinct, even without using any skills. Just the moment the fist was waved, there was a faint sound of piercing through the air. Quote. Room baton. Lu Chengqing didn't even get the first-generation ghost out of its sheath. As the fingers of his left hand rose, the originally quite flat concrete floor appeared. In an instant, a wall made of rock and concrete stood directly in front of him to resist Shang Waqiang's attack. Boom! Accompanied by a strong collision sound, even the walls made of cement and concrete still had some cracks. What kind of method is this? Shang Waqiang could feel the tingling arm. Could it be that Lu Chengqing's awakened profession is similar to that of a rock mage? After slightly adjusting his posture, there was an earthy yellow light that instantly wrapped around his right hand, and he decisively used his professional skills. Deliberately punch. After getting a general idea of Lu Chengqing's occupation, Shang Waqiang's action was obviously much faster. As for the unsheathed long knife, he didn't pay too much attention to it, and he probably could play a decorative role, so he decisively blasted towards the wall. Only, Lu Chengqing's movements were faster than he imagined, and the skills that were accumulating strength hadn't even been released yet. The concrete wall in front of him was directly pierced, and Lu Chengqing had a laser with the fruit of the surgery attached to his hand. Grabbed towards Shang Waqiang's heart. Scalpel. Facing those huge dungeon bosses, it was very difficult for Lu Chengqing to use the scalpel, and it was difficult to take it out completely. But the hunter in front of him was completely different. The speed was so fast that before Shang Waqiang had time to react, Lu Chengqing's hand pierced directly through his chest. There was no pain at all, and the square ice cube was conveniently held in Lu Chengqing's hand. And in that ice cube, there was a bright red, strong heart, beating constantly, accompanied by the disappearance of the rocky wall in front of him. Quote. Lu Chengqing looked at the ice cube in his hand with great interest. This was the first time he used this scalpel ability. He didn't put any effort into the backlog, and Shang Waqiang, who was about to release his skills, could feel the disappearance of his own power. Many feelings such as lack of energy and weakness enveloped Shang Waqiang's whole body, while kneeling on the ground. I can only support it with my hands in front of me, so as not to lie on the ground as much as possible. The calmness on Shang Waqiang's face disappeared in an instant, replaced by panic, and he looked down at his chest. No blood flowed out at all, only a rhombus-shaped hole, and his heart was completely taken out. Quote. Shang Waqiang raised his head with difficulty and looked at Lu Chengqing's indifferent face. Fear often comes from the position. The opponent's ability. It's really weird. He wanted to struggle to get up, but his heart was held in the hands of Lu Chengqing, the extraordinary strength of the silver rank. It's useless. With the fear in Shang Waqiang's eyes, he shouted at the gang behind him, "Hurry up! This man is a monster." Quote. Lu Chengqing frowned slightly. How could he curse at others, and threw the ice cube in his hand high into the air. He glanced at the people who were about to retreat. The demon sword Onitsu in his hand took out the sheath decisively, and did not activate the skill, but used the special space of room slaughterhouse. Using slash decisively on those few hunters, accompanied by the extremely fast knife light, many hunters who were about to evacuate. I can't feel the existence of the limbs at all, as if the control of the body has been deprived. When they looked down at their respective bodies, the fear of the unknown seemed to swallow their hearts. Because all their limbs were cut off directly, and no blood flowed out, but were suspended in midair extremely strangely. Did not come. This. Zhang Wanqing held the wise man's scepter tightly in both hands, looking at the scene in front of her. Her cold face was full of shock. Is this the true strength of Lu Changqing? In the real sense, she teamed up with this guy, but in fact, she only faced the silver-ranked boss in the Fireland Island dungeon. Original. Zhang Wanqing also felt that she already knew enough about Lu Changqing's strength, but she could really face the hunter. Still a hunter of the 5 silver ranks. It seems. I still have a small layout. The skill that I don't know how to describe directly limits the strength of the leader of the hunter. Not only that, under those slashes of sword light, the 4 silver rank hunters who were about to run away even lost their limbs and heads. Or cut directly. No matter how strong a professional is, if he suffers from this kind of attack, he will basically have no other end except death. But these hunters didn't even spill blood, and while keeping their minds clear, they could still see his own body that was dismembered to pieces. Just seeing this, Zhang Wanqing felt an indescribable chill in her heart. This strength is simply. It's incredible. Lu Changqing glanced at the 5 desperados, and held the heart inside the ice cube again in his hand. With the same smile on his face, he asked, "Calm down. If you calm down, we should have a good talk about the compensation for today's matter." Chapter 42. Shang Waqiang knelt on the ground, and after hearing Lu Changqing's words, there was only gasping in the air. Looking at Lu Changqing's slightly immature face with a bright smile. At this time, he had no other thoughts except fear, recalling Lu Changqing's initial words. Like, when they were staring at these 3 fat sheep, in the eyes of each other, why weren't they the prey? How much is your life worth? Lu Changqing glanced at the trembling Shang Waqiang. His face didn't change at all, he was just holding Bing Cube's hand. Keep squeezing the heart. He himself doesn't have any idea of being a justice envoy. As long as he doesn't offend his own premise, then he will be fine. But Shang Waqiang's gang of 5 hunters all took their thoughts on themselves, so it was not so easy to talk about. Since you choose to rob, then be prepared to be blackmailed. 2 million. As Lu Changqing continued to squeeze the ice cube, Shang Waqiang instantly felt a sense of suffocation, as if he wanted to swallow himself. The face that was originally pale due to fear continued to flush, and it was faintly developing in the direction of dark purple. He looked at Lu Changqing's unmoving expression, and quickly changed his words. "If you make it up again, there will be 4 million. Fine. Lu Changqing frowned slightly, as if this hunter group was much poorer than he imagined. But it's an extra income anyway. Shang Waqiang could feel the suffocation gradually subside, and glared at the other 4 members of the gang. After pooling all the assets together, there are about 4 million alliance coins, all of which are transferred to Lu Changqing's card. Shang Waqiang didn't even dare to ask. Looking at the devil-like boy in front of him, he was full of pleading. As for the pleading gaze of the hunter in front of him, Lu Changqing chose to ignore it directly, although it would not kill anyone. But sometimes, the living are obviously more useful than the dead. He looked at Zhang Wanqing with a dull face, and asked, "These hunters should all have rewards, right?" Zhang Wanqing had a strange expression on her face, but she still nodded slightly. She could understand what Lu Changqing was thinking, and she would definitely not let the tiger go back to the mountain. Drain the assets from these 5 hunters. Then, you can use the official rewards to make a small fortune, which is very in line with Lu's personality. Even the top prize in the college entrance examination can be rewarded. If these hunters' bounties could be rejected directly, this would not be the Lu Changqing she knew. I'm afraid that if it wasn't for the dog, he would have to be slapped twice. She took out her phone, dialed Zhang Tianqi decisively, and said concisely, "We have encountered a few hunters." After hearing what Lu Changqing said, Shang Waqiang and the other 4 hunters who were torn apart. In an instant, his face was ashen. I can't see any brilliance at all. Compared to being slaughtered directly, it seems to be arrested by the authorities. Also a good choice, even if, with the opportunity to choose again, they will not have any opinions, and they have no idea of resistance at all. In terms of strength, it is simply crushing, and Lu Changqing's incomprehensible strength is simply not too outrageous. Compared with direct G, it seems that prison is also a good home. Is there any objection? Lu Changqing glanced at these hunters, tapped the handle of the knife lightly with his fingers, and explained without forgetting to kill and punish. I've made it very clear. The money just now was paid for, but I didn't say to let you go. Zhang Tianqi, who was still dealing with official business, immediately tensed up when he received a call from his daughter. Hunter. As a veteran professional, how could he not know about these criminals, who basically only picked rich professionals to attack? And it's still the one with no lower limit. Zhang Cheng has a stronger attack on this aspect, but he can't stand the wanted criminals who are running around. Simple communication. After knowing the location, Zhang Tianqi rushed directly towards the trading market, fearing that being late would cause an irreversible accident. Only, when he saw Lu Changqing, Zhang Wanqing and others, his originally tense heart instantly eased a lot. But after regaining consciousness, Zhang Tianqi's expression was quite strange. Why did he feel that he could meet this kid wherever he went? Could it be, is Lu Changqing really so obsessed with his own cabbage? Thinking of this, Zhang Tianqi resolutely dispelled this speculation, and set his sights on the alley and the few hunters. The traces of fighting are not particularly obvious. In addition to the concrete debris on the ground, the most conspicuous thing was Shang Waqiang, who was kneeling on the ground. As well as the other 4 silver rank professionals suspended in midair in strange poses, had strange expressions on their faces. Instantly dignified, Zhang Tianqi naturally couldn't understand the fighting methods of his daughters Wanqing and Lin Qianqin facing these silver rank desperados. Want to beat it? It's impossible. The only possibility is that these silver level hunters were all solved by Lu Changqing. What kind of method is this? In addition to shock, Zhang Tianqi's face was full of doubts. As the city lord of Zhongcheng, his strength had already reached the diamond level. But even he, after seeing Lu Changqing's method, I was still confused inside. It was an arm I had never seen before. The silver rank hunters whose limbs were cut off and suspended in midair didn't even bleed. Vital signs are still maintained. Just seeing this scene, Zhang Tianqi felt an indescribably weird feeling in his heart, and even he didn't know how to do it. Or, this kind of method is unique to medical doctors. If this is the case, then he will have to find a side job. It's outrageous. Chapter 43. You made all of these. Zhang Tianqi glanced at Lu Changqing, suppressed the shock in his heart, and looked at him with strange eyes. In the copy of Fireland Island, he hadn't seen Lu Changqing's battle scene, but in the copy of the college entrance examination, the spatial ability displayed. Zhang Tianqi can be said to be very understanding. But now, to be honest, he still doesn't understand the strength of Lu Changqing, 5 silver-level professionals who have been licking their blood all year round. It was actually solved by Lu Changqing. Lu Changqing nodded slightly, and after briefly explaining the ins and outs of this matter, he changed the topic to the hunter. He opened his mouth and asked, Master Zhang, these hunters should have bounties or something. After Zhang Tianqi heard this address, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly, when he needed to take the blame for something. Just Zhang uncle. There is nothing else to do now, only City Lord Zhang. This kid is really realistic enough, but he still nodded slightly. He glanced at Shang Waqiang, and after thinking for a while, he replied, as long as they are hunters, they are basically on the wanted warrant. The bounty for these 5 silver ranks is about 2 million. Lu Changqing nodded slightly. He didn't have high expectations for the bounty, and 2 million would be enough. The special space of the fruit of the operation was not evacuated, and with the subtle movements of the fingers, it was originally suspended. The hunters who were chopped into pieces completed the body reorganization under the premise of ensuring that there were no problems with the parts. It is slightly different from the ability in the previous anime. Unless the body reorganization is completed, as long as the space of the slaughterhouse is released, the severed enemy will die directly. Then trouble Zhang uncle. Lu Changqing had a smile on his face. No matter what, he had cooperated many times. Just hand over the hunter to Zhang Tianqi. Next, just wait to get paid. The corners of Zhang Tianqi's mouth kept twitching, and while his face was strange, he had a rough guess in his heart that this guy wouldn't it be targeting those hunters. Controlling the number of champions in the college entrance examination, collecting officials, and school wool, plus ordinary family background. It is indeed a lack of resources. He did not forget to remind him metaphorically, Student Lu, the strength of these hunters is relatively low. Those hunters with higher bounties are often not bad in strength. Properly. Lu Changqing nodded lightly, and naturally heard Zhang Tianqi's hidden meaning, don't think about killing the hunter as a way to earn resources. In addition to himself, he doesn't have that kind of thinking, as long as he doesn't focus on himself. After solving the hunter's matter, Lu Chengqing did not linger in the alley, and glanced at Lin Qianchen. He smiled and said, "If there is nothing else, I will go back first, and then I will see you at Zhongnan Vocational College." "Okay, student Lu," Lin Qianchen replied earnestly. After seeing the strength that Lu Chengqing showed just now, a sense of urgency filled her heart. It is necessary to increase the strength as soon as possible. To be able to keep up with Lu's footsteps, there is only one day's time without seeing each other, which seems to be the gap between them. Was pulled away again. Oh, right. When Lu Chengqing left the alley, he glanced at the ice cube in his hand and almost forgot to return his heart to that person. After all, it was bought with money. It would be somewhat unkind to others, so he decisively threw the heart in his hand to Zhang Tianqi. Zhang Tianqi looked at the translucent cube with a little doubt in his eyes, but he still reached out to take it. Only, when he saw what was wrapped in the ice cube in his hand, even his old-fashioned and serious face instantly became more dignified. Heart. Moreover, the beating heart and even the surrounding muscle tissue were taken out by Lu Chengqing. Even if you catch a professional on the street to ask, if you don't have a heart, you will only die. But now, looking at the ice cube in his hand, Zhang Tianqi always felt unrealistic and absurd, as to what method it was taken out of. He couldn't even think about it. There is heart replacement surgery in the hospital, but even in an era where game reality overlaps and medical technology improves, there may not be a way to take out the heart so completely that it can still keep the heart beating normally. A situation where a person whose heart has been deprived is still alive. Looking at Lu Chengqing's leaving back, Zhang Tianqi couldn't help frowning, and whispered, "Could it be this kid? Really a healer?" Zhang Cheng's official work efficiency is very high, and the identity of the hunter was quickly confirmed, with a total bounty of 2 million. All were transferred to Lu Chengqing's alliance card, including the huge sum of money sold by the Scepter of the Wise to Zhang Wanqing. Same goes to account. It only took half a day to sell those few pieces of equipment, plus the unexpected gains of the hunters. Lu Chengqing refilled his small treasury to 36 million, as for the lottery in the dimension pocket. No ideas for now. When you have accumulated enough 10 draws in a row, maybe the chances of getting good things and abilities will increase a lot. After finishing the rest of the chores, Lu Chengqing didn't get too involved in the next 2 days. Next, it is to go to Zhongnan Provincial Vocational College. Chapter 44. Zhongnan Vocational College. The office of Vice President Chen Qingliu was originally quite deserted, but with the arrival of this year's freshmen, completely lively. Chen Qingliu looked at the directors of all professional departments with helpless expressions on their faces, except this year. After all, there are 3 top students in the college entrance examination in Zhongnan Province who joined the Zhongnan Provincial Vocational College, although there is some moisture. But he still underestimated the gold content of the top spot. The rest of the freshmen will basically be assigned to the most suitable professional department according to their occupations, and Chen Qingliu doesn't even need to worry about it. This year is especially different. He looked at the 3 student profiles on the desktop, namely Lu Chengqing, Lin Qianchen, and Zhang Wanqing. It would be fine if only Lu Chengqing was alone. You don't even need to think about it, just ask this kid directly. But the matter of passing the college entrance examination. Lin Qianchen and Zhang Wanqing are obviously bound to Lu Chengqing, and they are completely in the same boat. Occupation has its own merits. Zhang Wanqing's ice mage is an ice mage who can be upgraded to a hidden profession, let alone Lin Qianchen. Spirit Sword Master. As long as enough resources are poured in, Lin Qianchen's strength will increase, and she will definitely be like riding a rocket. If it is according to the college's new student distribution mechanism, it is estimated that this iron triangle will be directly dismantled. Chen Qingliu is only worried. It's Lu Chengqing, the 6th son, who digs a hole for himself from the aspect of assigning majors. Belonging is a psychological shadow. As for the office, it didn't look like an institution of higher learning at this time, but it was as noisy as a vegetable market. Dean Chen, student Lu is a medical practitioner with an auxiliary profession. Logically speaking, it is most suitable to be assigned to our auxiliary department. What auxiliary department? You haven't watched the video of the copy of the college entrance examination, have you? Classmate Lu is very likely to be a dual professional. It would be a waste not to come to the combat department. Look down on auxiliary occupations. If you have the skills, don't call me a big tit in the raid copy. Healers also have attack methods, and the upper limit of potential is higher than you think. Lin Qianshin's profession is a spirit sword master, so it makes sense to join our beast familiar department, right? Quote. Chen Qingliu couldn't help but rubbed his temples, seeing the heads of various departments blushing, and there was a vague tendency to fight. His tone was quite helpless, and he interrupted, which department Lu Chengqing joins will depend on personal wishes. I came to see you this time because of other things. Quote. The deans of the various departments who were still arguing all turned their eyes to Chen Qingliu, their eyes full of puzzlement. Could it be? The next thing is more important than which department Lu Chengqing goes to. Chen Qingliu saw a little silence, and said with a serious face, after the freshmen enter school, I am going to open the Dusk Frontier dungeon. Which one of you agrees with and who opposes? What? Crazy, Dusk Frontier dungeon isn't just for freshmen, okay. It's prone to accidents. After hearing Chen Qingliu's words, the directors of each department, such as combat, support, and beast control, all had serious expressions on their faces. Others may not be clear, but as members of the Jiangnan Provincial Vocational College, they can be said to know the dungeon of the Dusk Border best. Silver copy. And it's not just a simple silver level dungeon, there is also an extremely strict time limit for the strategy, which must be within 12 hours. Kill the dungeon boss. If the dungeon time limit is exceeded, the Dusk Frontier dungeon will usher in Changyi, completely plunged into darkness. The difficulty of the dungeon will be directly raised to the gold level difficulty level. A dungeon of this difficulty. For those freshmen whose average strength has not reached the silver level, it is completely no different from dying. Even if those sophomores and juniors who have other choices of gold level dungeons will not consider the Twilight Frontier. The difficulty is too high. Without the strength of the golden rank, and the number of people is not enough, there is no way to carry out the strategy. The director of the combat department frowned and refused. I don't agree with this, I think it will drag those freshmen into the circle. It is estimated that there will be fewer than half of the people coming out. Quote. The directors of the other departments did not speak, but the way they looked at Chen Qingliu was enough to show their attitude. Impossible. At this time, Chen Qingliu was not as kind as before, and even his tone was unquestionable. I'm not asking you, I'm here to inform you that I have prepared the specific rules. According to the ranking of the admission points, 100 students will be selected to participate in the copy, and the sophomore students will be arranged to lead the team. Let those freshmen know that university is not as easy as imagined, and that you have to fight for resources yourself. By the way, let those old fritters feel the pressure of new students. Is it possible that you want to see our college continue to be silent? Chen Qingliu glanced at the directors of the various departments present, his eyes were quite serious. If it was the past, he definitely wouldn't take the risk. But this year's situation is different. In the Jiangnan Provincial Vocational College, a real genius came. On the day of the university report, Lu Chengqing followed Lin Qianshin and Zhang Wanqing to this top university. Lu Chengqing looked at the extremely conspicuous signboard, if nothing else, the next 4 years basically spent here. Compared with his previous life, Lu Chengqing was somewhat looking forward to this kind of top school specially opened for professionals. It's going to be great, right? Chapter 45. Lu Chengqing glanced at Lin Qianshin and Zhang Wanqing who were beside him. Even these two guys had yearning eyes. 3 years in high school. In addition to learning the basics of fighting skills, occupations, and exotic beasts, there is not even competition. And this professional academy, it can be said that it is the fastest way for professionals to improve their own strength level and move to a higher level. If there was no competition, Lu Chengqing didn't believe it at all. He entered decisively without the slightest hesitation. Let's go. Compared with the colleges and universities in the previous life, the area of Jiangnan Provincial Vocational College can be said to be nearly 100 times larger. It's close to morning sake. Many freshmen have already entered the campus with a lot of luggage, and are received by seniors and sisters from various majors. Only, when Lu Chengqing, Lin Qianshin and others walked into the school, they quickly attracted the attention of many people. Bottom line, it's still Lu Chengqing's face, so F. King familiar, the list of top candidates in the college entrance examination was announced, plus that video. Basically, the students have heard about Liu Chengqing, openly challenging the loopholes in the college entrance examination rules. Let Jiangnan province have 3 college entrance examination champions at the same time. It is completely because of the huge increase in famousness in front of countless people in the whole Dragon Kingdom for the arrival of Liu Chengqing. Not only the students, but even some school teachers were quite surprised. Damn it, why is this 6th child coming to our college? I always feel that I won't be able to survive in the next time. Leaving aside the status of a rule breaker, Liu Chengqing's strength is definitely in place, 45,000 points. If you don't engage in this show operation, then the record for the highest points in the previous college entrance examinations of the Dragon Kingdom will be refreshed. I'd better hide in the future, so as not to be tricked by this guy. Quote. Those students' discussions were very quiet, but for Zhang Wanqing and Lin Qianqin, who are extraordinary people, listen carefully. It can still be heard. The expression on Zhang Wanqing's face was quite strange. When she chose to find another way, she was already ready to be discussed. But what she didn't expect was, most of the students' focus is on Liu Chengqing. She laughed and joked, "Student Liu. It seems that your reputation is not low." "That's it." Lin Qianqin quickly agreed, but that pretty face was not at all relaxed, but rather vigilant. Observing the reactions of those girls, I was afraid that some rascal would come out and compete with me or something. "That's fine, let's be happy." Liu Chengqing shook his head lightly. "Although the name, Lao Lu, is not very good, it's still better than. Everywhere I go, there is a villain who jumps out to ridicule me. I want to be comfortable. The university stage still focuses on development." Quote. While Liu Chengqing, Lin Qianqin and others were talking, there was a rather elegant old man in his early 50s not far away. He walked slowly in his direction. On the quaint robe, there was a badge representing his identity. He was the head of the combat department of the vocational college. With an indifferent smile on Zhang Quan's face, he eagerly came to Liu Chengqing and greeted him proactively. "Student Liu, welcome to join Jiangnan Provincial Vocational College. I am Zhang Quan, the head of the combat department." "Mr. Zhang, hello." The smile on Liu Chengqing's face was indifferent, and he could probably guess why Zhang Quan took the initiative to find him. Professional choice. Jiangnan Provincial Vocational College has a total of 4 departments: Combat Department, Auxiliary Department, Beast Control Department, and Life Department. And this is just a general distinction. There are also various majors in the 4 major departments, which correspond to the professional talents of each freshman as much as possible and provide the best growth direction. I don't know, Student Liu, do you have any thoughts on your choice of major? Zhang Quan was not a emoji character in the first place, and after a brief exchange of pleasantries, he resolutely went directly to the purpose of this trip. Professional choice. He has watched the entire video of the copy of the college entrance examination. It can be said that the strength crushes all the candidates in the same copy. And he had a vague feeling that the strength shown in the copy of the college entrance examination was far from all that Liu Chengqing had. If Liu Chengqing can join in the combat department major, it will be for other freshmen. It's stress. It is also the driving force for their growth. Liu Chengqing was not surprised, but just asked with a smile, "But, Mr. Zhang, you also know. My awakened talent is an auxiliary profession. Wouldn't it be inappropriate to join the combat department?" Quote. Zhang Quan glanced at Liu Chengqing, not to mention the strange expression on his face, if he hadn't watched the video of the copy of the college entrance examination. He really believed it. Seeing people talking about people, talking nonsense to the devil, Zhang Quan was silent for a moment, and said, "Except for resources. As long as it is within my ability, including starting a second job, I will try my best to satisfy you." Quote. Liu Chengqing likes this straight-to-the-point temper, and he keenly grasped the blind spots in Zhang Quan's words. Resource. It seems that all the resources of Jiangnan Provincial Vocational College need to be obtained by themselves and will not be provided directly. What Liu Chengqing considers as the combat major, and the physical recovery provided by the medical profession is enough for bugs. There is no need to join the auxiliary department in order to become a medical doctor. Nowadays, what he needs is the ability to quickly discover the fruits of surgery in order to improve his actual combat level as much as possible. Think for a while. Lu Chengqing opened his mouth and replied, "It is not impossible to choose the combat department. I want to know the special rules of the academy." After a moment of silence, Zhang Quan nodded slightly. The rules of his own college were all slowly explored by the freshmen. If you just reveal the simple rules, you can change Lu Chengqing to join the combat system. Even if it violates the rules, it is worth it. Please like and subscribe.